This Paradigm video is a topic that was requested by my friend Nina. She wanted me to talk about setting goals, and I wanted to add to that what to do when you fail those goals. This is more of a general topic, and I'm going to do my best to address it in a relatable manner and to make it practical. So my friend Nina suggested this, and believe it or not, I think it's a very nice discussion to have because this can reach every area of your life. People spend a lot of money to hear how to set goals and reach goals, and thankfully for you, I've set up a payment button below for your convenience. Just kidding. All that I share here is free, so here we go. I don't care who you are, if you don't write your goals down, or even if you just type it up, or if you have a way to see it, if you don't do it, I think you're far less likely to reach that goal or even to try at all. But before you go writing down 25 goals in life, and I'd pick your top 3 or 5 goals, or even just 1 or 2. As human beings, even the more accomplished of us don't achieve more than a few goals at a time. In fact, most of us only achieve 1 or 2 goals at a time and in smaller increments. So whatever your goals are, relationally, financially, spiritually, and so on, think of 1 or 2 realistic goals, but don't sell yourself short. Challenge yourself a little. Once you have those goals, think of the steps involved to reach that goal. This part people usually skip, but even with a realistic and challenging goal hanging above your doorway with a shiny star next to it, you can't really truly compartmentalize how you'll get there unless you write down the steps. Let me give you an example. If your goal is to pay off debt, which for a lot of people is a goal, I would go the Dave Ramsey way. If you haven't heard of Dave Ramsey, he has a radio talk show that he does. I'm not sure when or how often. You've probably heard of Financial Peace University. Maybe your church or some group is holding that, a series, and it usually involves videos and discussion and stuff like that. Or he definitely has a website, which I will share as much of my information about him as I can in the description, because he's not just wise about money, he literally changes people's lives with giving them simple things to get them out of debt, and it's not a get rich fast kind of thing, not at all. It's a very applicable thing. So I would dare you to look at the information. But here we go with the example. If your goal is to pay off debt, Dave Ramsey's way is to step 1, list all your debts that you have except for the house payment, because that's kind of a big one and it's something most people have anyway, but it's a good kind of debt. But if you have credit card debt, student loans, or medical debt, those are 3 examples of debts you might want to list. Step 2, figure out which one is the smallest of those 3 or 4, however many you have, and pay that off first. It's kind of counterintuitive, but the reasoning here is, as Ramsey says, you'll use the debt snowball to knock out your debts one by one, from paying smallest to largest. Pay off the first one, the smallest one, then add what you were paying off on it to the next debt, and start attacking the next largest, and so on. And when you start knocking off the easier debts, you'll see results and stay motivated to dump your debt. Usually we want to knock off the first big debt, but it takes so long that sometimes we either give up, or it just takes so long that we're so disappointed that the fewer ones maybe get put on the back burner and don't end up getting paid off. So this helps us therapeutically cross off the debts that we have. As each debt is paid off, your cash flow will increase and the bigger debts will be gone sooner than you think. And before you know it, you'll be debt-free. It's very possible. Even if I don't care what number you have in debt, it's possible. It just will take longer if it's a larger amount, very likely, because most of us can't pay off $40,000 in debt right off the bat. Step 3, cross off the smallest debt and move on to the next largest. It's kind of part of number 2. So list your debts, figure out which one is the smallest, and order them, and then pay it off smallest to largest. And I'll share a link to what Dave Ramsey calls the first baby steps. It'll have the same information along with other things that might be related to debt or other financial issues. Now, in the education world, especially as a teacher myself, I learned about this thing called Zone of Proximal Development, or ZPD. If you were in my cohort or you're a teacher, you may be surprised to hear such an educational term in this video about setting goals, but Soviet psychologist Lev Vygotsky, a very famous education psychologist, someone we heard about in our education training, coined this idea as the difference between what a learner can do without help and what he or she can do with help. This usually applies in context with children's learning, but this can apply to our goal setting as well. Set your goals high, but not in the stratosphere. Along with main goals and steps, set a time limit too, because I don't just mean in the new year I'll lose weight. It's the most common goal set in probably all of humanity. But be specific. Say, I will pay off my smallest debt within 3 months, and hopefully all 3 debts will be paid off by the end of this year. I think that's specific enough. If it's about the weight, say, I want to lose 20 pounds in the next 3 months. I don't know what's realistic for 20 pounds, but I'm just throwing something out there. Now, this sounds pretty doable, I hope, but what about when you don't reach your goal in time, or even scratch the surface of it? Well, like all important things, marriage, budgeting, and so on, you have to sometimes adjust. If it didn't work out in 3 months, maybe you have to adjust the amount you're setting aside or stretch the timelines a little bit. Either way, these things can bend. And if you have a spouse or close friend or a financial advisor, ask them to help you be objective and realistic. You might need help setting these goals. If you're a believer, pray to God that He shows you what your next steps are. And no matter how unusual, impossible, or silly the answer, obey. I don't need to remind you what happened to Jonah and to Nadab and Abihu and other biblical characters for not listening to God the first time. Just saying. If you're not sure what the heck kind of names I just mentioned, I'll see if I can find the biblical references. If you're awfully curious what happened to them, I'll share that below as well. But the most important thing is that you don't give up. I know it's cheesy, but how many goals pass us by simply because we aren't perfect and didn't achieve them the first time? The saying is true. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Or if you realize this goal just isn't the right one, follow what author and comedian Stephen Wright says. If at first you don't succeed, skydiving is not for you. If you have any questions, comments, you need clarification, or if you have an idea for a video, message me. I've gotten a lot more responses the last couple videos for ideas, so I do have a few to pull from if I need to, but I don't think there's too much I can get. So send me ideas if you have any, and I look forward to next time.